Hello, hello. Welcome back. It's the show that is not really a show. It's a weekly happy hour. An excuse to hang out, to have a drink, whatever your drink may be. Sometimes we drink beer. Usually we drink beer. Actually, I can't think of anything that I have had on the show that was not beer. Maybe seltzer. I don't think I ever drank a seltzer on the show, but it's possible that I could do that at some point. But we don't discriminate against whatever you decide to drink on this show or any of my shows. It is a safe haven for whatever your poison may be. How is everybody? Let us know what you're drinking in the chat. That is the whole point of this show, or this thing that is not a show. It is to hang out and to talk with each other. So let everybody know what you're drinking and take part that way. You can, of course, chat on whatever platform you are on. If you're on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch or any of that stuff, the chat will all kind of come together, and we can come together as drinkers, right? And then if you want to get really crazy with it, you can, of course, call into the show. We have the drunk line active. It is 567-70-DRINK. If that's more your speed, you could do that, and we can talk that way. But regardless of how you want to take part, because that's why we do this every week. Leah's drinking Fibonacci Origin of Species. Oh, I haven't had that for a while. I haven't been to Fibonacci in a while. That is on my list. I'm working on a video and a blog post actually about beer gardens, and so I want to get over there to record some stuff and to honestly just sit outside under the trees and have a drink. Let's see. Julia said she's getting over a mentally exhausting day and just opened her first can of Westside's Pineapple Goza. I had my first Pineapple Goza from Westside this weekend. I actually drank 2 of my 4-pack because it was so freaking good. I really, really enjoyed that one. It's that big burst of pineapple, just enough tartness, and then that salt kind of comes in at the end and kind of, oh man, it's good. It's a really, really good beer. It's got me really excited to dive into some of their other gozas that they're working on. I'm excited. Vernon says, after that intro, I feel ashamed to say Boda Box wine. The wife says I need to work on the beer belly, and this is my compromise. So there is nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't drink wine as much as other stuff, although I do drink my fair share of wine, but there's nothing to be sad about that. Marco is drinking Truth, picking up to-go food. Surprise, surprise. There are some things that if they aren't the way they are during this show, it would seem very strange. One of those being Marco getting his to-go food while drinking a Truth. When Justin Chaney gets on, if he's not drinking a High Life, that's a little strange. So yes. Julia says she could easily crush that entire 4-pack in a sitting of the Westside Pineapple Goza. Yeah, it is really that good, guys. Don't sleep on that one. Go grab it. I'm going to dive into a beer here in just a second. I'm actually finishing one up. This one I can't really talk about what it is. It is a fun little test batch from a place that's doing a thing with a person about a thing. I will say this is completely inappropriate for the season, but it's delicious. That's all I will say. It's really, really good. If you have guesses, I may answer yes or no questions about it, but it's really good. So yeah, we have some labels that I want to dive into. We can talk about this week's Brewcast, which was Common Beer Company. I freaking love those guys. And as I talked about in the show, it is definitely one of those places that, Sean, if you want to guess, you're more than welcome to guess. Common is one of those places that I don't get to, not just to do podcasts nearly as much as I feel like I should. I just don't get there as much as I should. It's so frustrating some weeks. You sit down at a tap room like that you don't get to go to as much. and you just realize how much you enjoy everything about it. I love their beer garden. It's fantastic. I mean, you can just hear it when you listen to the episode. You hear the birds chirping, and you hear traffic, but just kind of in the background, and like it's just and just atmosphere is a big part of what I enjoy about drinking places. But then you take the environment coupled up with some really, really interesting beers. That strawberry, what was it? Strawberry time? Some strawberry and some kind of herb wheat beer that they had on that we tried during the show was just so good, sitting out in the sun. And then you couple that up with just those places that have people that are really, really good people, and it's frustrating that I don't get to Tarragon. Thank you, Julia. It's frustrating that I don't get to go to places like that. It seems a little silly to complain that I don't get to go places, because I recognize I get to go to a lot more places than a lot of people, and the only thing that's stopping me from going to more of them is me not going to more of them. So it's not complaining isn't fair, but it makes me realize how much I enjoy a lot of places like that. And Fibonacci, I mentioned wanting to get back out there, is definitely one of those places too. That beer garden is so freaking fun. It is that perfect. All of those. Well, I'm going to get ahead of my my blog post that's coming up about it, but all of those factors just kind of come together perfect there. So. My wife says I'm probably stopping you some too. Yes, she is, but maybe not you as much as the two other people that live in our house. They're the ones that tend to stop me more than anything else. Although it is kind of funny that we were married a while before we had kids, and I was definitely the gnome for a while before we had kids. And there were definitely those nights where my wife would get a little annoyed that I was out, stopping at a tap room on the way home from work or something like that. And I look back at those times now and just want to kind of go back and smack her upside the head and be like, just let me do this, please. You have no idea what our life is going to be like. I'm going to be locked up in the house for years. So, yeah, a lot of places I want to get back out to. And I've had definitely a string of those on the show. Sons of Toil out on Mount Orab. Although I don't know that I would get out there as much as I would like to, even if I didn't have kids. But Brad says they're always good travelers. My children are not good travelers right now. I have one that thinks she's a dog and would just run around the tap room barking at people, possibly chasing traffic. I don't know what all things the dog would do when it gets out. That's the rough times. Sometimes she just stands in the middle of the patio and dances, and that's, I guess, a good thing. That's fun. It provides some entertainment for people. But the boy is a complete crapshoot. He is a small monster right now, so no, he does not travel good. So I'm going to dive into a beer. This is the Belgian Aloha. This is from Olentangy River, up in Lewis Center, Columbus. It is a Belgian triple with hibiscus. It says a French Belgian ale that's rosy, bubbly, and strong on the finish. This Belgian triple with hibiscus gives you a classy sip every time. And thanks to Sean White for sending this one back home with me the last time I was up hanging out with everybody. I think that's all it really tells us on here. I love their branding on these cans. I don't know if you guys can really get a good shot of that. But yeah, I love the the artwork. It's awesome. So yeah, it's pink, as a hibiscus beer should be. Light little pink hue to it. This is super clear though. And I could be wrong on this, but when I see Belgian triple, I'm just expecting some kind of haze to it. But he says, don't forget, I had that from the fermenter when I was up there in the snowstorm. I don't remember anything I drank that day. I mean, yeah, no, that's not true. I remember a couple things. It was so long ago. Yeah, I'm excited to try this one. As somebody who again, we've talked about this a lot on multiple shows, somebody who's been quoted plenty of times as saying that I don't like Belgian-style beers. Just keep proving myself wrong every time I have one, because I kind of do. Yeah, and that's good. That's not overly... I don't know if this is a proper descriptor. It's not overly Belgian because it's made in Ohio, definitely. But yeah, that's good. It doesn't have that big, heavy, yeasty thing to it. It is definitely really easy drinking, though, for, what is it, 9.6? Yikes. That is a dangerous beer in a very good way. Yeah. I got my new Pleplius glasses today. I should have brought them all in here so you guys could see them. I got this one. Then this is the other one I was drinking out of. And there's two more. If Zane Lamprey comes out with a product, it's going to find its way into my basement. Let's see. Sean says, I believe they filter the beers. This has to be filtered. Look how... I mean, you guys can't really tell, but look how clear that is. It's beautiful. I don't have any problem with some of the trends and haziness in beers, but there is still just something gorgeous about a big, bright, just beautiful beer, especially when you're sitting outside and you get that sun kind of filtering through. Although, it will skunk your beers very quickly, but it's just so pretty to look at. And this one is absolutely gorgeous. The hibiscus kind of helps tame, I think, some of that, definitely some of the alcohol and some of the Belgianiness. I just definitely made that word up, but it kind of helps kind of pull it back and keep it reined in. But yeah, that's good. That's going to go down really fast, and I'm going to be really chatty by the end of it. In fact, it's going to go down so fast, I'm anticipating that even with as little as I'm able to drink beers while I'm trying to talk to you guys, I'm probably going to finish that one during the show, just so you know. The not a show. Let's jump into some beer labels, because there's some stuff in here. Not just beer labels. Let's jump into some label approvals, because there's a couple things. One specifically that I definitely want to talk about. And we'll start with, we've been seeing a lot of fretboard come through. We got a couple more here. Flute Loop. It's really fun. You see some of the labels on cans, and you get used to seeing it. But then when you actually see it just on a screen, or if you pull the label off and put it on something and kind of just look at it, you get to appreciate it in a whole different way. And this is one of those that I've definitely seen the label plenty of times. I've got cans of it sitting around somewhere in the collection, and I've just never really appreciated how cool it is. I love the vintage kind of vibe to it, and yeah, very pretty. It also, again, brings back that topic that is very interesting of why we're seeing all of these fretboard labels. Some of them make sense why you'd have to correct some things, but yeah, we won't get into that. Janice, this one, again, another absolutely beautiful, beautiful artwork. Raspberry ale. I could use this one definitely very soon, because we're planning on camping next weekend. And when we camp, I drink a lot of beer, and this is one of those ones that it is nice and fruity, but still packs just enough punch past that that sessionable kind of line, 5.2%. So it's got something to it. But yeah, we kind of going off topic with that a little bit. We went and grabbed dinner the other night with the kids. We did take them out into the world, and we went and grabbed. We grabbed dinner. I had wings. I had terrible wings, but we sat on the patio, and they had Reba on tap, and I drank a bunch of Reba sitting on the patio in the sun, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. Brad says that won't be available this weekend, unfortunately. That's okay. I will let it slide. Although my other favorite camping beer is also not available yet, and that's Fuji. That is my favorite breakfast beer while I am camping. So you guys lost a couple points there too, but I'll let it slide. I'm sure I have something that will suffice. So yeah, drank a bunch of Reba, and it was amazing. Marco says, "Where are you going camping? Breweries in the area?" No, so we go to my in-laws' house. They have a little bit of property, and we just kind of set up there in their yard basically, and camp out and cook all our food outside and have a big party. And it's bordering on that glamping line. So if you want to go take a shower, you can walk into the house and go take a shower. If you don't want to wait for your water to boil on a propane stove, you just go inside and use the Keurig. So it's not like it's not roughing it very much. But let's see. Julia says we need a mixed 6-pack of women rocker beers. Janice, Reba, bring back Joni. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. Fretboard's going to be the first to distribute to Elon Space Hotel. Fretboard will be the first one to open up a satellite brew pub on Elon's Space Hotel. Cool on. I haven't got to try this one yet, and I've been really curious about it. It is definitely the summer of shandy. We can't argue that anymore. There's so many of them out there, and so far I've enjoyed every single one of them. This is another one of those ones that I think would be perfect for camping. Sometimes with a shandy, depending on how much juice you go on the juicy side, they can be a little lower in ABV, which is nice. This one's still 4.5. I'm all about that. It's still beer territory. It is still a beer with a beer that has been shandied instead of being a juice with some beer personality. Can't wait to get my hands on this one. I did finally get a hold of the new cold IPA, which I can't remember what it's called. It's your thing, I think. I got a pint of that. That's the other thing. I was shopping at Jungle Jim's this last weekend and finally got to have a pint while shopping again, which was a long time coming. And Brad says that Cool On will be available for glamping. Is that hitting distro, though, or only taproom? I think I saw that it was only taproom, which means I have to convince the wife to let me go grab some beer. Although, you know what? I might be able to make that happen. So to not to spoil anything, but this next week's Brewcast, we had a couple things shift and change, as it always seems to do. And my show that was supposed to be got canceled. And then this show was already scheduled, but it's getting bumped ahead a week from when it was going to be on. But none of that's really that important. The important thing is this week I will be headed to BC's to record with a couple folks, and BC's Montgomery is not that far away from Fretboard, so we'll see. John says glamping in Kentucky. Here is, this is not a label. I think these are what Mad Tree gets approval for their keg collars, I believe. I don't know. This is the little sticker that goes on their tap handles. We'll put it that way. This is Baby Bee Stout with cocoa, cinnamon, vanilla, maple, and lactose. Excuse me, and lactose. This is not cans, but but it's definitely a camping beer in my opinion. Some more Sam Adams, the Cincinnati Tap Room. Marco says, I will be at BC's tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, possibly Saturday. I will be there one of those days this week recording a show. Although I didn't tell anybody at BC's that I was going to go there and record a show. I'm just going to show up and record, so hopefully that doesn't piss them off or anything. Sam Adams, Cincinnati Tap Room, they are rolling out cans now. We've seen 513, and they've got plenty of label approvals that have been coming through for the last, 6 months or so, maybe. Maybe not that long, but for a while they've been putting labels through. Fresh Pops Scary Berry. Seems like a nice Halloween-themed beer, so maybe this fall we'll see this one. Scary Berry might be aged on a scary amount of blackberries, boysenberries, and raspberry puree, but it's ghoulishly delicious. This fruited tart ale is balanced out with vanilla bean and features smooth mouthfeel from an addition of lactose. Nice. Let's see. We suggest blending equal parts Creature from the Black Lager and Scary Berry for a truly hair-raising experience. And I haven't seen a label proof for that Creature from the Black Lager, but maybe we'll see that too soon. Julia says they need to make those into popsicles like tested last summer. That would be good. I'm desperate to see more of these Sam Adams Cincinnati beers out in cans. This is the one I kind of wanted to talk about. I've been seeing a few of these approvals come through, and haven't really said a lot about them. This is a brand that is Tikraza, I guess is how you pronounce it. It is owned. Marco says, shouldn't it be a Utopias year? I think so. I believe so. This is Terry Shumrick, who used to be the owner of Shumrick and Lee's, one of the owners, head distiller. Sorry, I just realized you guys couldn't see the artwork because of the chat on there. Used to be the owner of Shumrick and Lee's, which was bought out by an investment group that is not 50 West, but definitely Bob Slattery. So Bobby Slattery's dad is part of that. They say they're in no way related to 50 West. Has nothing to do with 50 West. It is RJ Distilling Company. Terry Shumrick was the head distiller of that too, and getting when they kind of carried the distillery over to the new owners. I've seen some of these labels go through. This is a company that they have, so they've got the copyright for the name for everything but beer, and they have an address. Their address is on Montgomery Road, which is not the old Norwood location, as far as I can tell. So I don't actually know a lot about this brand, except that it's interesting that somebody who did own a distillery and then got bought out and was supposedly staying on as the head distiller, maybe didn't stay on as the head distiller for very long. That's my assumption by this, is that it's a new brand that he is rolling out with. We'll see. I've never seen any of these in store, even though they the labels have been rolling through for this brand for probably close to 2 years at this point. And granted, the last year was very strange, so you can't really count it for much of anything. Some new Urban Artifact stuff. This is a spiced apple goza. I'm going to put the chat back up for you guys. Let's see. Julia says make that into popsicles too. The Utopias. Yeah, I don't know that you could get it to freeze into a popsicle. Marco says I got to get Utopias this year. I love Utopias. It is a really, really interesting beer. And, if they're releasing it again this year, I got to get me a hold of some too. Good thing about this spiced apple goza is it's in cans. I assume that this will be. I need to actually look at their release calendar because I assume that we'll see this in the fall. Another Chariot label. They change these every once in a while depending on kind of just little changes. So this one is it looks like they took off. Yeah, so some of them had I gotta sneeze. Some of them had ingredients of the salt, coriander, vanilla beans, tart cherries, and natural flavoring because of some kind of thing that they were adding to help stabilize the fruit or something that they thought you had to add that, but then you didn't. I don't know. I don't remember the whole story, but they took that off of all of them. So now it just says ale brewed with fruit and spice down there in the corner. And yeah, I'd have to look and see what else exactly changed from it, but I love this beer. It's so good. Here's a new urban one, Hotel Water, ale brewed with cucumbers, limes, and lemons. Epicurean series, I've enjoyed pretty much everything from the Epicurean series that I've had. There's still plenty that I didn't have, but another Kaleidoscope variant. This is the Tropical Trail Mix with pineapple, orange, and guava. Marco says, I think I'm going to start a Cincinnati beer podcast for the possibility of them sending me a bottle. They will do that, for the record. If you don't have to start a podcast. If you just talk about them enough on Instagram, they'll send you stuff or make you come pick stuff up more likely. I think, I don't know if you can see it back there. I got a bottle of Utopia sitting back there on the shelf that was compliments of the fine folks at Sam Adams last time they released it. So yeah, the biggest thing that I wanted to kind of talk about with those labels this week is that Takaza, however you pronounce it. I think it's a terrible name because I can't pronounce it. But it's interesting to me, and it makes me wonder what is going on with RJ Distilling. They invested heavily in this iStill technology, which is kind of rapid aging, rapid processing of alcohol. And I haven't tried any of the products from that yet, so I could be completely wrong that they are inferior. But it does take away a little bit of the romanticism or whatever it is about the distilling industry that I think people latch onto. We as the consumer don't always want products faster and easier. I get that there is a whole different side of that of trying to create them faster and easier just for better profit, but that's kind of missing the point in my opinion. Similar to the way the difference between Brad says, is that the Smoke and Water location in Norwood? No, I think Smoke and Water is on Highland Avenue, right? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not on Montgomery Road, so it's not that location. So I don't know. I did I pulled these labels just today, so I didn't have a lot of time to kind of dig in and try to find some research. But I did a little bit and couldn't find a lot about what was going on there. But it definitely seems to be missing the point of what people want from a distillery, and there are a lot of places that are doing that right now. But it's the difference between kind of macro beer and craft beer, or whatever we want to call it these days. People don't want to feel like they're in a massive factory that is cranking out a product. They want to feel like they're in a place where it's people creating a thing and sharing it with them, and it runs the risk when you start really leaning heavily into technology to cross over that line, especially in the distilling world that is still hangs its hat so heavily on tradition and the past. And I don't know. That's my opinion. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think I am. So I don't know. If you make a good product, you make a good product, though, and it will sell. So maybe they're just looking for a different market, I guess. I'm gonna drink some more of this hibiscus beer. Yeah, this is one that I would not take camping with me, because I would crack into it like at noon in the sun, sweating, and I'd end up passed out with a sunburned, bare butt hanging over a chair next to a fire or something. It would be bad. It's a recipe for a long camping weekend. When you drink something like this in the sun, you tend to end up without pants, in my experience. So I mentioned that this week's brewcast, which was supposed to be, this next week's brewcast, which was supposed to be the weeks after that, I was doing really good staying a week ahead of schedule until this last week, which I talked about who was supposed to be on the show. So if you guys heard that, you know who. Not that they canceled on me. We'll call it a miscommunication. But it is back on the books for a different date. So we are going to make it happen. But it means that I'm no longer a week ahead of schedule. So BC's Bottle Lodge, I'm going to sit down with Matt Damaris, and then Diamond, which she runs Instagram page. Some people call it a blog. I don't know the difference anymore. I don't know where that line of a blog versus not a blog is, but called Beer Is Not for Boys. And then Lee says it'll be awkward for the kids to see me passed out without my pants. My kids wouldn't think twice about it. There's Dad again, passed out without pants on in the middle of the yard. That's a joke, guys. So Beer's Not for Boys. That's her page. She does have a website. Isn't creating a lot of content on there. She has a podcast that she has started and has not started really cranking out episodes of that yet. Though she definitely should. I think that she's definitely got a lot to say. I think I'm not going to assume why it hasn't happened yet, but we're going to talk about it. She's going to be on, like I said, with Matt Damaris, and we're just going to shoot the shit. We're going to drink some beers and talk about both of them and who they are and what they do, and kind of their role in Cincinnati craft beer, because I think they both have very important roles and voices that I'm excited to get more people to be able to hear. So excited about that. I've got, what else is in the works right now? Oh, I just started talking tonight about possibly getting a panel together. So the last panel show, as I call them, was back in 2019, maybe even 2018. I can't remember. We did the Cincinnati Sour Beer Community Show. I don't know what I called it, but we talked to kind of the biggest producers of barrel-aged sours, what real sour beer in the city. And we Marco says, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. I will do what? I don't know. That was the last panel show that I do. I teased then that the next one would be about loggers. I thought it would be just kind of maybe a few months down the road or something. Then COVID, obviously. Then chaos and COVID. Chaos in my life before that, and then COVID made it really hard to do anything like that. So now that we are kind of turning some kind of a corner, I'm not going to say we're in the clear because obviously we're not, but life is returning to some semblance of normalcy, which means that something like that is possible. So Brad says I'll hop on that panel. Well, talk to Mitch. Get me a booked for the stage. Fretboard is doing, for anybody that doesn't pay attention to social media, they're doing a series on Mondays of podcasts live from the tap room, and my feelings were a little hurt that I was not invited yet, and so I reached out to Mitch and said, "Hey, well, how do I get booked on this?" So that's where I want to do the panel show, to kind of wrap it all up in a nice little package and let you know. I want to do the panel from Fretboard on the stage, get all of the biggest kind of producers of loggers, or maybe what I think are the best producers of loggers, or the loudest producers. I don't know. I have to find a way to word it, because it's not going to be everybody that makes lager beer, because there are so many people that make lager beer right now. So as we get a little bit closer, I'll probably throw some stuff out on social media, and if there are places that anybody thinks have to be involved in that, let me know. Obviously, Rebel Metal. Northern Row, I think, is pretty underrated for how heavily they're focusing on lagers right now. There's a lot of smaller guys that are doing it too. That it's going to be hard actually narrowing it down to a reasonable sized panel, because you get too many people and it just gets confusing too. So I think when we did the sour community, I think we had like 8 people or something, which is a lot of voices trying to talk. So we'll see. It's going to be a ways away if I do that. So it's not going to be the next couple of weeks, just so you guys know. But I am working on it. Also working on a mead show. Talked about that before. And I'm also desperately trying to get a couple episodes of Drinking with the Gnome put together and put up there. I've got plenty of episodes recorded. I just need to do it. In my head, I think my hold up on that is that I really, really want Drinking with the Gnome to be a weekly show, but I don't know what I want it to sound like on a weekly basis. I don't want it to change week to week. Like, I don't want one week to be an interview at a bar with somebody who runs a bar, the next week with a distillery, the next week me sitting in studio talking about the history of a cocktail. I don't know that I want that, and so I'm kind of I'm dragging my feet about putting stuff out there, not knowing what the sound of the show is going to be going forward. So it's my own issues, I guess, that I'm trying to figure out. It's really, really difficult. If I was able to, I would do a different podcast every day of the week. Monday would be Cincy Brewcast. Tuesday would be Drinking with the Gnome. Wednesday would be, maybe the Weekly Pint as a podcast. Thursday would be something else. I have literally a list in Evernote, a note, I guess, of just show ideas or episode ideas of shows that could be done. And every single one of them are things that I just desperately want to explore and want to try, and could easily, if I could figure out a way to fit it into some kind of context. But I also don't like starting things that I can't really finish. So it's very frustrating. Margot says, it'd be cool, a podcast that talked about Cincinnati Beer Podcast. I 100% agree. I think it would be fun. I want the more podcasts that exist, even if they're not focused on Cincinnati beer, if they touch on Cincinnati beer on a regular basis, I'm all about it. Pretty much all I listen to during the day when I'm at work is podcasts at this point. And I listen to a few that are okay shows that if I had like a really good Cincinnati beer podcast would quickly get replaced. So do that for me. First one that gets replaced, Shift Beers. No, I'm kidding. I love that show. If you guys aren't subscribed to Shift Beers, go subscribe to Shift Beers. I think, like, in my head, I really think that there should be way more breweries around town that have their own podcasts where they just talk about what's going on in the brewery, in the tap room, with them, in their lives, whatever. Just kind of tying people more into the stories around some of those places. I think it makes so much sense, and it blows my mind still that places aren't doing it. It's not hard to do. It's a little time consuming, and definitely get to spend a little bit of money if you want it to sound good, but not that much. It's not that much time, and I don't know why more places aren't doing it. I don't know why more people aren't doing it. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that have something to say, and the great thing about a podcast is that it doesn't really matter if anybody is listening. Even if you get a handful of people, it still has value to that handful of people, and can very much make sense to them and to you to keep making it. So I think more people should have their own podcast is the moral of the story. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we start wrapping things up? Because I've got some beer to drink. I probably should have cracked into that Fretboard Cold IPA tonight so we could talk about what the heck a cold IPA is. Because I still don't really get it. Even after reading Craft Beer Joe's article about it. It sounds to me like a either an IPL, an India Pale Lager, or a dry hopped Kolsch, or something like that. But those are already things, so I don't know. Maybe Brad can shine a little light on what the hell it is, or Marco, if you've done any research into it. Julia wants to know if any breweries are doing a cicada beer or a cocktail. Hopefully not with actual cicadas, but with them in the name or something. I haven't heard anything yet. I know somebody will. Let's see. Brad says it's not an ale or a lager. Then what is it? That doesn't help me at all. That clears nothing up. I think, going back to the cicada question from Julia, if somebody's going to make a cicada beer, they need to make a cicada beer. Brad says the whole concept is to ferment cooler than an ale. Okay. So my understanding is it is an ale yeast that is just kind of that is fermented colder, a little bit longer, and a little hoppier than like a Kolsch would be. Marco says we have a new pale ale called Cicada Chaos for their festival release. When is the festival? It's June. Brad says the hops have a different bonding at different temperatures. Okay. So, okay. looks like I need to make a cold IPA show because yeah. What makes it different from just something like a Kolsch that is, an ale that is fermented kind of like a lager, but then dry hopped? It's honestly hard to explain. Yes, it's very hard to explain, and it's very hard to understand. It is. I think it is a. That is probably what makes it a terrible style. Is that I just don't. Nobody understands it. They're delicious, or at least the one that I've had is delicious. But I have no idea what it is. The one thing it definitely has going for it is that it's got IPA in the name, so people that like IPAs know they're gonna like it. I wish. I don't know what I wish. I like it. It's good, but I don't understand it. I promise you guys, I will do some research, see what I can figure out, and see if I can understand. You get the blend of the lager Christmas, the smoothest of an ale. It's a hybrid. Okay, that's the. I guess that's the closest I'm going to get to understanding it, is that it's kind of a hybrid between the two. It is similar to an IPL. It is also similar to a dry hopped Kolsch, but it's its own thing that isn't a thing. Going from IPLs to cicada beers. As far as people putting actual cicadas in a beer, I'm really curious to see if somebody does it. There's some. I assume that there's some loopholes you probably have to jump through to make that happen. Just because of ingredients, I don't know that you can put insects or animals in your beer without some kind of. The hops are stickier in an IPL. All right, that now I'm definitely even more fascinated. I need to try. I need to sit down, and I need like 3 IPLs. Or no, I need 2 IPLs. I need 2 cold IPAs, and I need 2 dry hopped Kolsches, so I can kind of compare the difference between all of them and see what the hell is going on. Marco says no cicadas were harmed in the making of his beer. That's good. We love the cicadas in my house, and my 4-year-old would be sad if she knew that they were being sacrificed for our drinking pleasure. But so Dan Listerman, 17 years ago, made a cicada beer. It was not a commercially available cicada beer, but he definitely homebrewed a cicada beer. So they're my bet right now, but I don't think that they will. My wife says she loves the cicadas. She appreciates that. I'm not sure what Matt is he saying right now about putting them in a beer. Why not is the question. That's what drives so much of craft beer forward is just trying new things. And what better way to try it than a cicada beer? Especially, so think about how fun it would be. Well, fun is probably not the right word. Think about how interesting it would be to make cicada imperial stout right now. Just brew this imperial stout with cicadas in it. Circadian rhythm. Don't trademark it. That's pretty good. You get this big kind of beer that can age well with cicadas in it. You throw it in a cellar for 17 years. So the next time the cicadas are here, you go and you crack it open and you drink it then. The downside of that is that the cicadas might settle in the beer, which would be really disgusting. I don't know. The other thing that you could do, which plenty of people do stuff like this, where they say, "Oh, yeah, we put that in there." You brew a beer and you just toss a handful of cicadas into the beer. It's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to change anything. And then they're in there, just a little handful of cicada shells. Not going to hurt anybody. She says it's my tree. Listerman with a cicada baby's beer. Yeah, I mean, somebody has to do it, right? Like, there has to be somebody that is going to jump on that. There is too much other stuff that you look at that is just ridiculous that is happening in craft beer for somebody not to. If I had to bet, I would say yes, somebody will do it, even if it's just like a small taproom thing. A Randall. We can Randall something through cicadas. What happened to Randalls? I haven't seen that whole trend happening at all in the last couple years. It used to be that, tap rooms and bottle shops, bars, things like that always had Randall nights where they were Randalling stuff through fun stuff. Lee says, the Urban Artifact Entomology Series, Midwest Cicada Sour. That's actually fun. Lord. I mean, they're not going to hurt you guys, if you eat them. From everything I've heard, I've never ate one, but I know plenty of people have. Everybody can hear the snappy cicada pizza song in their head right now. I cannot guarantee that this weekend, while I'm camping and drink too much and lose my pants, that I won't also fry up some cicadas and eat them. Unless you eat handfuls. Yeah, how many cicadas do you have to eat before you get sick? I did hear that they were like, what are they, mercury accumulators? What do they call that? When, like fish, where, if you eat too much of a certain type of fish, you get too much mercury. I heard cicadas are like that too, the periodical cicadas. I don't know how true it is, but so I heard they're not great for you. But I heard they taste kind of like shrimp. I've actually done research into this, guys. So tune in next week where maybe I'll tell you about my cicada eating experience. I don't know, speaking of next week, I don't know for sure what time I will be doing the show. I assume soak 'em in a good stout or Chianti. I will take that into consideration and put a lot of breading on them as my a lot of breading and fry them is my plan right now. I don't know for sure with the weekly pint next week what that's going to look like. Marco says no chance they taste like shrimp. But we'll find out. Tune in next week. I don't know what time the show will be or put them on us more. Oh, we've gone down a rabbit hole, you guys. Can you just lightly toast cicadas in the fire while you're sitting at night and just pop them? I heard that they taste best if you get the really young ones, like right as they come out of their shell, when they're still like all milky white and gross looking. Get them and pull their wings off so that the crunchiness of the wings isn't there, is the proper way to prep them. I don't know what time. You guys have got me all distracted now. I don't know what time Weekly Pint will be next week because we are camping Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and during the day on Monday. We'll pack up Monday and come home. So sometimes I'm a little late getting to the show. Don't know. I do know. My wife says that is horrible. I do know that we will definitely... I'm off on Tuesday, but we will be home on Tuesday because my 4-year-old has her first day of cooking camp. I don't really know what that is. I'm just hoping she brings food home afterwards, like a cake or something. I don't know. But we have to be here Tuesday, so we're not camping into Tuesday. So we'll be here at some point. I don't know. I would just go live from camping, but there's not very good cell reception, so she's gonna make cicada pie. My wife says, guys, if he pulls the wings off baby cicadas to eat them, he won't be coming back home from glamping. I mean, I'll kill him first, right? Just take a pocket knife and right in the head or something. Wouldn't that be the right way to do it? I don't know. You gotta try them. We gotta try to eat a cicada, at least one or two, or a handful. Come on, it's only a couple times in your life where you get this opportunity. If it is late, I can be no pants and drunk, then call. We can all have a no pants party. Well, guys, I appreciate you all hanging out with me and entertaining my my cicada thoughts. If you pull the wings, the head comes off. There's no way. No, if you just grab them, you can just pull the wing off, right? I don't know. I'm going to do some more research. I'm going to read up on this. We'll figure out the best way to eat a cicada. Oh, Lord, you guys. My wife's not going to let me eat cicadas. This is what I'm learning right now. Thank you very much. For anybody who doesn't know what all this is, you can find out more at thegnarlygnome.com. Or if you like what I do and you want to support it that way, you can go to thegnarlygnome.com/support, and that helps me keep all of this running and keeps the fridge stocked with cicadas. Thank you guys very much. We will be back next week at some point. I just don't know what time. At some bat channel and some bat time. I for some reason I'm just gonna believe Brad that if you pull their wings, their head pops off, which means they die, which means it's humane. Thank you guys. Gonna go eat a cicada.